Greetings, Culturians, and welcome to another moment of dismal Disney. That's right, we've got some fresh tea brewing on a raging trash fire, otherwise known as the wonderful world of Disney+. Boy, does this smell. It's a bit burnt, and it's not tea that I'm going to drink, but Marvel's latest streaming endeavor is currently crash landing right before our eyes with some terrible, terrible ratings. In fact, the ratings are so bad that they've actually dipped below the canceled Acolyte series. And yet, the media is still out there running with some pretty creative numbers to try and convince us otherwise. And of course, I'm pulling this from several stories, most importantly from That Park Place, written by WDW Pro. So if you want to get more information and filled in more, you can check out that article and a couple of others that are written by other equally great websites. I mean, let's just say that if Disney's goal was to make Agatha the least watched Marvel show in history, well, congratulations, you nailed it. Look, Marvel's recent attempts to find its mojo, well, they've failed, at least in the terms of streaming. They've been riding high from Deadpool and Wolverine for good reason. Great film, wonderful box office. But let's just acknowledge the obvious. The reason that it was successful was largely due to Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy. Those are two guys who understand the audiences that they're appealing to. They get humor, action, and most importantly, they get the people that are there to give them a good ride and not a deriding lecture. And yet, when it comes to Agatha All Along, we're back to the same old tired Marvel template that we've seen far too often on Disney+. It's full of melodrama, random side characters, some convoluted lore that gets more and more convoluted as we go, and of course, a carefully crafted, or actually technically clumsily crafted, political message that nobody wants. It's not church, it's entertainment. And Marvel, nobody likes your woke religion in the first place. Politics aside, of course, you are forgetting that you're there to entertain. If you're wondering why Secret Invasion, the Marvels, the Eternals, all those types of things struggled, that's your answer. Agatha is just another unfortunate chapter in this saga on the heels of a Star Wars show that really never should have been made, never seen the light of day, and never should have spent $230 million US on to date, because I don't believe that total is anywhere close to how much they spent. I'm still guessing $350 million all told, and we'll find that out sometime in a future quarter when we get the actual numbers from Companies House in the UK. And of course, that brings me to the source of this article that was the source for That Park Place's article, Variety. That's right, Penske Media, the unified trade paper company that basically makes everything trade-related in Hollywood except for the wrap, which isn't suitable to wrap fish in, to be fair. Frankly, Variety is like reading between the lines on basically every sentence, and it's really hard to get through and try to figure out what it really means. What it really means this time around is that they want to promote the new show along with the likes of Percy Jackson. Why? I don't know. Also, not within the same number of days, which is rather telling. Also, making a comparison to The Acolyte, not good, because that show got axed after one season despite the cast, the crew, and the handful of fans, 80,000 of them, wanting a second season. At current, from the very beginning, Agatha's already going in the wrong direction. The first episode only racked up 9.3 million views in its very first week, which isn't good, because Percy Jackson debuted with 13.3 million in 6 days. That's 1 day less. And of course, comparing it to Acolyte with 11.1 in 5 days, Agatha's starting to look like a real loser. But if you look closely, and I mentioned it before, you're not comparing apples to apples. Not the same number of days, not the same type of show, not even in the same genre, per se. I mean, we've got one show over 7 days, another one over 5. Heck, I feel like I need a degree in quantum physics to understand why these numbers are even relevant to each other. They're certainly not from the same pot, let alone in the same time frame. But we're going to break it down. If we divide the Acolyte's numbers by 5, we get an average of 2.2 million views per day, which, there you go. Agatha All Along with its 9.3 spread across 7, we're looking at a dismal 1.32 million views per day. That means that Agatha is only pulling in 59.5% of what the Acolyte managed, so there's the disparity there. And remember, Acolyte got canceled, so it's nothing to really compare to if you want the show to survive or for anybody to believe that it's even interesting to an audience. Technically, Agatha is coming in dead last when compared to the Acolyte in a race with basically only 2 competitors. And Acolyte, despite having its shoelaces tied together at the starting line, still managed to outpace you and win the race, at least so far. In other words, Disney, stop trying to spin this with your trade friends. It isn't working. We can do the math. Your show sucks and nobody's watching it. So what does this mean for Agatha All Along? Well, it's pretty much the usual. Disney seems comfortable with doing 1 season at a time. This one's guaranteed to have 1 season, to be fair. And nobody gets attached to any of these characters from episode to episode or even for the entire run, because none of this matters. It's irrelevant. And you wouldn't dare tie this property to the already sinking ship of Marvel, because this would be an accelerated way to the bottom. Not good. Maybe that detachement's actually a win for Marvel here, because nobody wants to do homework to see a movie, and fewer people are watching these shows. I mean, Disney right now seems to have perfected how to kill an audience that would be engaged in 1 season flat, maybe in 1 or 2 episodes flat. And again, there are exceptions. I mean, Loki is the exception to the rule. That particular show, though, is having its own magic fade, and I don't think people are looking forward to a season 3, a season 4, or anything else having to do with the TVA. And if you're paying attention, most Disney Plus series follow the same pattern. Hype up a character, drop them into a season, and then quietly pretend that none of it mattered because they're not going to make any big splash in the Marvel Universe film side in any way. And let's be honest, film spin-offs for Disney don't seem to work. You can spin a character out into the film universe, but they don't matter any at all. They don't really do anything. They really kind of destroyed Wanda Maximoff and made a terrible Doctor Strange movie in name only, because basically that was the Wanda movie that nobody really wanted. And somehow she became a bad guy. Anyway, now we have to talk about the media. The media that surrounds all of these shows, trying to make people believe that other people care. And of course, their irrelevance is the elephant in the room that nobody really talks about. I mean, let's ask the question. Why is it that media can't just tell the truth? Is it because they're in bed with Disney? Is it because the Penske media is in bed with Disney? Is it because everybody's in bed with each other because it's the way they think that they might be able to survive? I mean, why? Look, first of all, Disney spent a lot of money making Agatha All Along, and the media seems very interested in doing PR work for them and setting up a situation where this is successful somehow. It does manage to stretch them and their credibility in every way possible, and I believe at this point, nobody believes them. In fact, I think they've stretched so far that the multiple rubber bands that were holding everything together have broken. And what we've got here is Disney pushing a narrative with these major outlets, happy to play along. But why? Just once, I think everybody wants to say, hey, this show flopped. Yeah, maybe it wasn't what the audience wanted. No. And finally, especially with Agatha All Along, it might be comforting to hear them say, look, this isn't resonating with audiences because the whole lesbian witches for everybody narrative isn't grabbing mainstream media by the heartstrings, or families who you're supposed to cater to, Disney. Remember them? And look, nobody's saying, especially me, that there shouldn't be diverse stories. There should be. There are plenty of them to tell. But they also need to connect with the viewers. And believe it or not, your viewers aren't who you think they are. And you're not giving them what they want. You're giving them what you think that they should want. That's not a good business model. And if you're pushing a what's popular now kind of a trope without delivering any kind of storytelling, you're setting your show up to absolutely fail. And if you look at the numbers lately, they're failing. Of course, now we're at this point where I have to ask a question. Is this show even salvageable? I don't think so. Is there a chance that she finds her way into a Marvel movie? My goodness, I hope not. Will she actually make an impact? Well, so far not in this show, and so far not in anybody's curiosity. Could Disney have Marvel shove her into something serious? Like, could there be a surprise cameo in a future film? Like, maybe force her into Thunderbolts? My goodness, I hope not. She is not interesting, not useful, and not a utility knife that you can put her in a situation and make her the remedy to a particular disaster. We already know there was no chance at a second season for this show because they told us on the red carpet when they did the premiere, which is a good thing because we can basically ignore this and recognize that none of these folks will come in to ruin the day, except for maybe Wiccan, who might come in as one of the new Avengers, which nobody wants either. And this brings us to our broader Disney Plus problem, because there is one. Marvel's streaming properties have been taking a nosedive ever since the early days of WandaVision, from the 3rd episode forward. Back then, the mystery and character development early on did hook people. Now they've replaced intrigue with a checklist of politically crafted messages, and the audience has noticed, just like the Acolyte before it, Agatha All Along has failed to draw viewers who actually care about the characters and or their journey, because they're non-existent. So what should Disney do now? Well, the first step might be to stop relying so heavily on the flashy headlines and the number manipulation. Nobody's buying it. In other words, if a show is actually underperforming, take the hit. Give audiences something worth their time. People love to watch Marvel. They love Marvel for its characters. Real, flawed heroes and compelling character arcs. Not because of a trick of using a box of buzzwords that will work in the boardroom. Because, let me tell you, the creation by committee has been failing you and many other creators out there for the last 5 years. Stop doing it. You will save yourself enormous amounts of money, and you will gain some kind of goodwill with your customers, who right now could care less about anything that you make, believe it or not. But hey, we're done with me talking about what's going on. I want to hear what you have to say. This is audience participation time, and you have some thoughts that truly do matter. I want to hear from you. What do you think went wrong with Agatha All Along? Is it what I suggest or something different? Was it doomed from the start, or is there something that Disney could have changed up to make it more appealing? Do you think that there's a chance that we'll see Agatha show up anywhere else, like, let's say, a Marvel film or even another show? Is it even possible for her to become an intriguing character again? Because my suggestion is, well, she may not have been in the first place. It was just such a veneer that people only liked it for that moment. Plus, should Disney have made something based on a meme song? Yeah, I don't think so. And finally, ask yourself this: is Disney now bound to one-season wonders, which seem to fall off halfway through, or is it possible that they could get back to making multi-episode, multi-season television? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below, of course. And while you're down there, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure that you're still subscribed. If you're not, let this be the opportunity for you to click that red button and turn it to gray. And also hit that bell icon and turn all notifications on, because it really makes it so you don't miss anything. And if you want to help the channel in a big way, watch a second video right after this one from my channel. And then go check out that gameplays, because we're doing great stuff there as well. If you're looking for merchandise, you can go to beachpunk.com. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.